daughter of Staff Sergeant Jerome Lemon.
Son of Senior Chief Daniel Richard Healy.
The daughter of Dennis Merck.
My dad was Mike McMahon.
Lieutenant Pete Ober.
Major Andrew Scott Burris.
Henrietta Rosari.
The military was my dad's life.
He was just a loving father.
He joined the military for his family.
To make a better life for his children.
My father died in Iraq. The plane didn't make it.
I was 15 and a half when I lost my dad.
I was about a year away from retirement when he died. My dad died.
You'd think it'll never happen to you.
It felt like a dream. I felt like I was just gonna wake up and he was gonna be home.
Now all of a sudden, you know, you're doing everything by yourself, and it's overwhelming.
You feel so isolated. You feel like you're the only one on the planet going through that grief.
The mission of Children of Fallen Patriots is to provide college scholarships to military children who've lost a parent in the line of duty.
Death is just the beginning. Going on is difficult, and how do we all get involved and help them through that?
Once Children of Fallen Patriots called, it really turned my life completely around.
There's no words to describe what they've done for me.
It was like having another family behind me.
We were reassured that we were still cared about, that Andy's life mattered.
It gives a way for the average American who doesn't wear a uniform to serve the nation.
We have the ability to make a difference in people's lives whose families have made sacrifices for us.
Thank you very much for the invitation to speak before the Rotary. It's very tough to follow that video, but that video brings home how important it is helping these children, helping these young adults. I'm Dave Tille. I'm filling in for a friend, Jay Lucas, who got me involved in Children of Fallen Patriots. Jay, by background, if you don't know him, he's a very successful entrepreneur and businessman, originally from Newport, New Hampshire, local kid who did very well, went off to Yale. He didn't serve in the military himself, but he's very passionate about supporting our military, supporting our veterans and their families. And Jay's son is actually serving as a Navy fighter pilot right now down in Pensacola. And I know several of you have heard why Jay's not able to be here. His younger brother was in the hospital and at late term care, but they might lose him. And they were able to find an appropriate donor for a liver donation. And so Jay is with his brother while his brother recoups. So it's a new start on life for his brother. And so Jay reached out to me over the weekend to come in and speak before you. So it's a little improv on my end, but I'm honored to do this for Jay and do this for a very important organization. And on my background myself, I'm an Army veteran. I graduated from New England College and live over in Henniker now. And I heard with your earlier presentation, I was a Russian linguist and intel analyst when I was in the Army, and then served public affairs in the Guard, and handled veterans issues for 3 members of Congress in New Hampshire, and foreign policy. And now I'm director of veteran services at Harbor Care. So next time I'll have to tell you more about Harbor Care. They're the largest provider in the state on helping veterans most in need, on housing and homelessness, but also on vocational rehab and jobs, on addiction and recovery, and also on suicide prevention. But here today, I'm honored to speak about Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation. And Jay brought this wonderful organization to my attention when I saw on social media years ago that He was hosting a reception for the organization, and I wanted to get him connected with our state's veterans community to get folks involved. Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, it was founded by David Kim, who was on the video. And after he had served, David was a West Point graduate, and he had served in Panama, and one of the soldiers in his troops got killed in action and was the father of still a unborn child at the time. And so David wanted to ensure that that family and that child was taken care of. And that was the start of the creation of Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation. And what we found through studies was that there's about 25,000 families that would fill this need, that lost a mom or dad in the line of their service, and has defined by the VA's the standard for determining that it's a service related death. And they also, as you'd probably understand, a military family, a lot of times the lead bread earner is that service member, and the spouse is traveling with the family by base. So aside from the tremendous loss of losing that parent, it tends to be also the primary income earner in the family. And being active duty too, I mean, the military helps with survivor benefits, but it's sometimes fairly abrupt too. If you lost that loved one, you're moving out of your base community, out of your housing and that kind of community support. And what they found is that definitely the need was great for these young people, for the help. And the scholarships that Children of Fallen Patriots provide for it's $6,250 annually, but how they came up with that determination was overwhelmingly the children that are going to college, they qualify for Pell Grants, student loans. So this tended to be the gap per year of what the kids needed additionally to pay off their college. But also what Children of Fallen Patriots did too was any students that had student loan debt, they took care of all student loan debt if there was a gap from that. The children that we support, you really get to know. We've got, on one of the videos, they showed Dan Healy, who his mother's a Gold Star mother from Exeter, New Hampshire, Natalie Healy, and they do the annual Dan Healy run. And we actually supported Natalie's grandson going through college. And we also had a young lady, Johanna Walker, who just got married, and we supported her education through Boston University, and really get to know the kids that we're helping. And on the local level, with just some local examples, the scholarship funds though are flexible. So if the student needs help with their housing needs, it could be used to help the student that way. It could be used for books also, that really we're that close with each one of the kids that we help to fulfill the needs. And it can go for technical school too as well if you're going into the trades, whichever way to help those young people. And it's as they showed in the video also, they've already helped thousands of kids through the scholarship as well. And on Jay's end, with his work on Children of Fallen Patriots, where he's close with David Kim, the founder, is we really wanted to get the word out into the communities that these scholarships are available. In New Hampshire, we partnered with the Daughters of American Revolution because they're already in each schools with regard to the Good Citizenship Awards. And we've partnered with colleges to get the word out that the scholarships are available for students that may not be aware of it. But it's just can't speak enough about the organization itself and how it really is a family helping out these kids. And so on eligibility to I mentioned the criteria of VA. Their mom or dad would have had to have lost their lives in the line of military service, but that isn't necessarily just combat. We helped another family, and they were also in New Hampshire, and the father had died service connected from Agent Orange. So his death was much after returning from service, but it was a service connected death if it's determined maybe due to post-traumatic stress that a suicide was the cause. If the VA determines that was caused by service connected, then that's part of the eligibility as well. But trying to think if I could just leave it up to questions.
You have a waiting list of people that want to be supported.
No, they're very quick and responsive.
They cover everybody that asks.
What's wonderful too is they do an annual event in Greenwich, Connecticut that I've been to a number of times where they raise a good amount of money, millions in a night. So they're trying to make sure that there's no child that's waiting. If they've got folks that work with the family on the eligibility through the VA, but they're taken care of right away. No waiting list. Yeah.
I have a question just about if somebody does die, during their time of service, what are the benefits? Is there life insurance? Is there any continuing, what do they actually get and how much? Do you know the answer to that?
I know some of the answer of that just from being in the service myself with because usually you've got the like the $100,000 insurance policy that you sign up for. There are survivor benefits for spouses and family, and I think it's determined by length of time in service and also the amount of years that the spouse was married during that time of service too on the eligibility. But on things like education though for children there, yeah, isn't.
Did you say the amount of the scholarship, $6,000?
Yeah, $6,250 annually.
Annually.
Yeah. And that was based off of because most of the students have they qualify for Pell Grants, guaranteed student loans, and it tended to be that ended up the average gap, and some of that too would be if they're going to a technical school as well, but then they've gone, as I mentioned back at the back end, if there was student loan debt left, they've paid off the balances for all the kids. Yeah.
Just in answer to Greg's questions, there's a couple of things.
Oh, thank you.
Servicemen's group life insurance, when you're on active duty, you pay in a little bit every month. And if you happen to die while you're on active duty, life insurance, I don't know what their payout is these days, but that's one thing.
Yeah.
The other is called, and when you retire or you get out, you can do something called the Veterans Group Life Insurance, VGL. So you can kind of continue the policy once you're out. The other thing is survivor benefit plan, which you pay into
even when you're retired. So I pay into the survivor benefit plan every month in retirement. And when I go, if my wife is still here, then she gets a certain percentage of my retirement. The bad side about that is if she goes first, then all that money I paid in just disappears. Because it doesn't go to kids, it doesn't go to anybody else, it just goes to the spouse. So those are a couple of things, and there are some other little like burial expenses and that sort of thing that are available to a member of the veteran.
Thank you.
How do you go about raising money for this program?
Well, and on the state and the New England end, where so nationally, Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation has one thing that we're very proud of too. Almost 100% of the funds raised go directly to the kids too. So there's very little overhead at all with the organization. But they have an annual event in Greenwich, Connecticut that's quite successful on raising funds. They've just started in New York City one as well. But they also have donor development staff that help out. We've got some great corporate sponsors too, that Pepsi, actually Children of Fallen Patriots logo's been on a Pepsi can before as a key sponsor. But a lot of it, what we're doing too is, and it was something that Jay brought out on getting the word out, was really raising it for our own kids in our own communities, bringing attention to the organization and raising funds locally too. And so we've had an annual event that we got back up again through COVID, where it was not happening for a couple of years, but we've been raising funds locally as well, particularly around the kids that we're helping throughout New England.
How long has this program operated, and any idea what's happening to students when they get out of school?
Yeah, since 1989, that's when David.
Quite a while.
Yeah, quite a while. Yeah, and Johanna Walker right now, she's working in the foreign relations realm. That's what she was studying, and I misquoted. She wasn't BU, she was Tufts. So sorry about that on where she was studying down in Boston. But one of the videos that they showed too, why they showed the CEOs and founders of the vintage fine clothing, is that they took on this program, and they're big sponsors too, because the founders of Vintage Fine, although it wasn't service connected, they both lost parents early in life and really adopted this program. So they've got a young lady that works for Vintage Fine that's doing, quite well through it. So it's been very successful that way.
Do you find the students go back into the military world at all when they get out of school?
Well, it's interesting because you do have some too that definitely do, that go, they go the service connected realm as well.
Yeah. I think we're hitting that double-edged sword, which Rotary is also aware of, which is when you can make that wonderful statement of 98% of whatever you receive goes to the program. That's why nobody in the room has heard much of it, because only 2% barely kind of covers pushing the paper around and doesn't cover the publicity. So, and I can't decide the right answer where the balance is, but if you have a really good cause, it's hard to get the support it deserves if you don't spend something to raise the money.
To get the word out, yeah.
And so is there anybody in the organization pushing to say, well, we really should do this or that to make more awareness? And what's the counter force of going, well, we want to be able to say 98% goes right to the program.
Yeah.
Andy, where that tension may be sitting in the.
Well, I think honestly, that's where Jay Lucas got involved on really wanting to do kind of a case study on building out the organization kind of grassroots wide. And that's what we've done in the state. I mean, on the national end, they've done a tremendous job with getting corporate sponsors. Citibank's another big one that helps on the funding. I'm just remembering from the Greenwich event, they've got on people that you'd know through Fallen Patriots that help out. That's well-known people. General Petraeus, his wife, is on the board and a spokesperson for the organization. We've had Kathy Lee Gifford coming. Let's see. Forgetting his first name, the football player, is it Tim Tebow? Yeah. But Dr. Laura promotes the Children of Fallen Patriots too on her show. So they've got some prominent folks that are very involved in corporate folks. But to your point, we've been working on getting it from a grassroots level done right here in New Hampshire on getting the word on coming to meetings like these, like the Rotary. But also kind of process wise, when a veteran is lost, in the state of New Hampshire, it's an Army department that handles kind of all of the survivor family assistance. And so they know the number of folks, but they can't, because of confidentiality, give names. But I'll give an example of how much we're pretty much on top of the need. I mentioned to the lady we know of now another, we were comparing notes. I'd gone to the funeral of this soldier who was he was an assistant county attorney, I believe. He was a colonel in the military, but a father of 8 children. And so I went to his mass when I worked for then Congressman Jeb Bradley. So we would go to all of the service funerals if we lost a veteran in our district. And I mentioned to him, like, we're now starting to take care of one of the kids going to UNH. And we were able to compare notes of a veteran with 8 kids without her identifying names that it's probably that family, But
that would be my question. What kind of connection do you have with the various within the military services? They all have decedent affairs organizations, as well as the veterans organizations in each state. They all have decedent affairs organizations. So to me, it would make sense that those people would know about you.
That's right.
And that they would, doesn't breach confidentiality or anything like that, if they provide your contact information to families that they're aware of, who have, and then the families can do whatever they want to with it, contact you or not contact you. So it just makes sense that you would have touch points with all of those different decedent affairs organizations.
Yeah, and that we do, and they're aware of the resources that we provide there. But it was just interesting when we met privately, because families move, and just keeping track of, and also when you think about it too, service connected death may be determined later, that it.
Agent Arch guy.
Yep.
When I go, I'm going to blame everything on my service.
When I go.
I'll share the URL of your
organization with all the members.
Oh, great. Thank you. No, I appreciate the time here. And if this was a little, like I mentioned, spontaneous. I'm from a military family too. My dad's retired Air Force, and I was driving him to his place in the Adirondacks. He'll be 92 in October, and was a Vietnam veteran and military intelligence. Flew B-52s, but I was driving Dad out when I got the call on Saturday out to his place in the Adirondacks when I got the call from Jay. So this is Jay would have done a much better job than
I think you're gonna find
me, but thank you. Thank you.